So, my name is Gene Boykin. I'm the founder of the Go Getter Family Academy. And tonight, it's a very exciting night because in real estate and then just financially, right, we've got to deal with debt collectors, right? Those are judgments against you, liens on properties, and second, third, fourth, fifth position liens. There's ways to deal with these, but a lot of people don't have this knowledge. So you got these big collection companies, man, debt collectors that are huge. Some of them corporate, some a little smaller, but they play the bully. All right. So tonight, I brought in a secret weapon. All right. Don't tell nobody about this, y'all. All right. This is just between us. But I brought in my friend and expert from both experience and then from beating that system up. We're going to get into that. But Terri Jordan Adams, or AKA Sued by the Debt Collector. Tonight, we're going to dive in to a lot of different stuff. So you guys write your questions down or put them in the comments. You know what to do. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you feel like we bring you some value, consider subscribing to my channel. All right. Or you can just be a player about it, subscribe. So thanks for being with me tonight, guys.
I'm a go-getter. They some go-getters. We some go-getters. Hope you a go-getter. Let's get it. I'm a go-getter. They some go-getters. We some go-getters. Hope you a go-getter. Let's get it. I'm a go-getter. Hustle to the end. We some no-quitters. Knock it out the park. We for show hitters. Right, left hemisphere. That's a dome splitter. Yeah. We control our own destiny. Make moves. Cultivate whole legacy. Creative finance. Bring more ecstasy. The right ingredients. Now that's a dope recipe.
All right, what's up, y'all? So thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight I've got Terri Jordan. Oh, I'm getting a little feedback. Are you getting any feedback? Terri?
No, I'm not getting feedback.
Oh, okay. Okay, might just be my headphones. So tonight I got Terri Jordan with me, guys, sued by the debt collector, and man, does she have a story. So Terri, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and
Thank you for
taking time out of
having
your
me.
day. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You have a bit of a journey, so I want to dive into it.
Well, okay. Well, where do we
Mhm.
start? Well, my name is Terri Jordan Adams. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me, and I appreciate it. Um, about 4 years ago,
Well,
I
let me
was
hold
in,
on. I hate to cut you off, but tell us what your expertise is in real quick.
okay. My brand is called Sued by the Debt Collector. And
Mm-hmm.
with Sued by the Debt Collector, what we do is we help consumers that have been sued by debt collectors. We help them to avoid default judgments, wage
Mm-hmm.
garnishments, property liens, of course, and having bank account seizures. And we do that through
Mm-hmm.
our educational processes. We have online products, digital products, and our podcasts and social media. So our goal is to create awareness and to change the narrative around how we're being treated around debt.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so you're an expert around negotiating that debt, maneuvering that system. When you have to deal with those people because you had an experience with them yourself, right? So tell me a little bit about how this journey started to get to this moment.
Absolutely. It's crazy. Um, in case you don't know any part of my story, I used to drive for Lyft. And one day I was driving down the street, minding my own business. I had a customer in the car, a rider, and next thing you know, we were T-boned. And at that time, um, my car spun around. I ended up with a traumatic brain injury, 5 herniated discs in my neck, one in my upper back, and I spent 3 years going through intense recovery just on my brain. So I had
Oh,
memory loss. Um,
yeah.
I was tipping over. It was something. Gene, it was
So
something.
yeah, so you had to have lost any sort of income that you had coming in, I'm gonna assume, because you couldn't work or anything at the time, right?
Absolutely. I lost all of my income because my car was totaled. I couldn't work.
Mhm.
Well, even though my car was totaled, I didn't have the ability to function. I couldn't see straight. I was in vision
Right.
therapy
Physically.
for 3 months. I mean, I
Wow.
I didn't have ability to deal with light and sound. So even if
Oh my
my car
goodness.
was functional, I was not.
Right.
I
Yeah,
was not.
you couldn't have did anything, much of anything anyway, and that happens to a lot of people. I read an interesting stat the other day, um, that every American stands on the precipice of financial, catastrophe. If a $500 emergency happens, their car breaks down, medical emergency, a majority of Americans don't have that $500, saved up rainy day fund, so to speak. So if anything happens, I mean, it's downhill, and then it seems like it snowballs. Is that kinda how your story went? Because you had lost your ability to work, but then you got a phone call or somebody reached out to you by surprise, right?
Absolutely. Um, After I couldn't take care of myself, and then one day I had
Mhm,
somebody knock at the door, and they said, "You're served." And I'm like, "What is this?" They said, "You're being sued." I'm like, "Okay, thank you." You know what I mean?
what?
And at that time, I was having mental health issues because of my brain. And
Mhm,
so I, looked at the paperwork. I set it aside for a moment. I was already dealing with a lot of catastrophe. And
mhm.
then the next day, I picked it up. I looked at it. I read through it. And what I found was I was being sued by a debt collector. And it was for
Mhm,
somebody that I didn't even recognize. And so I was like, oh,
mhm.
so I began
Wait,
to,
wait, wait, hold on, what do you mean? You didn't recognize them? What do you mean, like, you had never gotten a credit card from this company or car loan or anything from this company that is suing you?
the company that was suing me, they were
Uh-huh,
name dropping the original creditor. So I
okay,
recognized the original creditor. I recognized the
uh-huh,
amounts that they were talking about, but the people
okay,
that were suing me were not the original creditor.
uh-huh, okay,
And
okay, that's
so I
weird.
was like, okay, who are you? That was my
Mhm,
first question. Who is this that's suing me? I've never
uh-huh.
borrowed anything from them.
Right, right, so why are you taking me to court and
Yeah,
have
why are
somebody
you
show up
taking
on my
me?
doorstep?
Right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So at the you get this, you're wondering who this is, but what else is running through your mind? Because a lot of people are in this situation in some way, shape, or form. Medical, that's the number one reason that a person will file bankruptcy is medical bills, and it's usually from some sort of unexpected medical expense.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so what's running through your mind after the, "Well, who the hell is this?" What were you thinking next?
Well, I was thinking, oh my gosh, there's something else I got to deal with. I can barely function as it is. And
Mhm,
when I did my first run reading the lawsuit, um, what I saw was, oh my God, I have to respond to this in 30 days. Otherwise, they're going to give me a judgment. You
oh
know,
my god, 30 days isn't long.
30 days isn't long when, you're not a lawyer. 30 days isn't long when you have to understand the contents of what you're being sued. What is
Right, yeah.
this?
Let
So
alone let alone the situation that you're in at the time. Like,
absolutely,
oh
absolutely.
my
So
goodness.
believe me, I was flooded. I had anxiety was just through the roof. It was absolutely
Mhm,
through the roof.
I bet,
And,
I could imagine.
and what ended up happening was, okay, I said, let me look. And so it was talking about a judgment, and it said if I didn't respond within that 30 days, that I could have my bank accounts seized. It said that I could have my wages garnished. Well, I didn't have wages at the time. And then but
Mhm.
it also said that, I could get liens on my property.
Mm,
And I'm like, okay, I'm being sued by somebody I don't know, and they're threatening my assets. How does that work?
mm, mhm,
How does
mhm.
that work?
Yeah.
And I've got 30 days to figure this out with a brain injury.
Yeah, and then you don't know anything about that legal system. Most people don't. And
Yeah.
you know what's crazy? What's crazy is one of my properties that I'm selling on rent to own, it has a lien on it. It had two liens on it, but one of them fell off and the previous owner got that lien and it's a judgment. But I had to do all types of stuff to figure out who in the hell these people even were, right? That are owed this money. So we run into this a lot with how we do real estate by solving these people's problems. Some people may do the tax deed strategy, but go in there and to help people out and let them know buy their house from them and stuff. So with that threat to your bank account, to
Uh-huh.
garnishing your wages, to
Yeah.
putting liens on your property, I mean, it's pretty much everything short of putting you in jail. What happened next? Because you only got 30 days. So next is like a couple days or so after you receive this letter, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What happened next was, okay, so like I said, I did one pass through the lawsuit just to get the gist of it because it
Hmm.
took a lot for me to comprehend at that time. And then, so what I did was every day I did a little bit on the lawsuit and I would document it. I wrote it down.
Hmm.
And then the next day I would go back and read what I
Hmm.
had written down. And then I would
Hmm.
build on it throughout the month.
Wait. So real quick, did you not call a lawyer immediately or try to get a hold of a lawyer?
I did try to get in touch with a couple of lawyers. In fact, the first thing I tried was through the court system. They say, "Oh, here's some legal aid. There's
Legal
lawyers
aid.
that can help you." Well,
Hmm.
I reached out to them, and they were 2 weeks into after I had been served before they even gave me an initial phone call. And so I had some questions. I'm like, okay, well, what about this? And what about that? So I
Hmm.
asked somebody, the person that called me, it was either a legal aid or a paralegal, someone. And she
Hmm.
said, okay, well, I have to go back and talk to the lawyers and I'll get back to you. And so literally that cost me another week. So dealing with the whole legal aid
It took
system.
that long just to talk to an assistant in legal
Yeah.
aid.
And I
And
never to this day talked to the lawyer.
oh my God. So wait, you're still waiting on that call back?
I'm still waiting on
Her
the
to get back to you.
call.
Oh my God. Now, so I want the viewers to imagine this, guys, because remember, guys, what I tell you, we don't buy houses, guys. We buy problems. If we can be a solution to that problem, the side effect of that is, getting paid very, very well and a house, right? But we're helping these people. So imagine, a person in foreclosure, right? But there is another compound, something happened that compounded and then ended up in also a foreclosure, like Terry's example here. All right. And
Absolutely.
for those of you guys just popping in, this is Terri Jordan Adams of Sued by the Debt Collector is her handle, a super huge podcast. She's got a YouTube channel and she's got a story. But she fought, guys. She fought. But these are the types of people that we're helping. And if we can get to the bottom of that, and then also a system when these things are going on. I got a bunch of properties now with liens and prospects. So you still haven't gotten that call back from
No,
the
still
legal
haven't
aid.
gotten a call back. But you know what? I also reached out to other lawyers. I
Okay.
reached out to one lawyer and they were like, "Well, you open to bankruptcy?" And I said, "Well, no." And
That's just their
they
first
said,
option.
"Well, I said I need somebody to fight for my rights." They're like, "Oh, we don't do that." So I'm like, "Okay." Talked to another lawyer, and they were
Hmm.
like, "Well, when we settle, you have to save this money." I'm like, "Well, wait, wait, wait! I need somebody to fight for my rights." And they're like, "We don't do
Yeah.
that."
Right. Settle
And
what?
yeah, and they hadn't looked at my lawsuit. They hadn't
Hmm.
investigated the case. They didn't see what kind of offenses that were there. I
Hmm.
mean, they were just really pushing me through the system.
You know what I think that is though, Terry, is it is because they are used to people not being able to navigate that system. So eventually they are so beat down by calling all these different people, getting all these different answers, waiting years for people that are supposed to call them back, that they just give in and they say, you know what? All right, I'll lay down. I don't have any fight left in me, right? Because if you want to win the game, you got to know the rules to the game, and they
Got to
know that
know
most
the
people don't.
rules.
Mhm, mhm. So now you got these lawyers trying to get you to cop out to something you really don't even know what the hell, who's what,
Who are
and
you? Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what's the next move though after that then? Because you only got 30 days, and it took a week for
exactly.
the legal aid to call you back.
I only had 30 days. And the legal aid, they burned up 3 weeks. So I'm glad that
Mm,
I started working on my situation, even with
right.
memory loss, because if I had not done that, I would have gotten a judgment. And I would have been in
Mhm.
the exact situation that some of your properties were in. Exact
Yes.
situation, you know.
Mhm.
And so what I ended up doing is, as I started to dig through these lawsuits, I was finding that they were filing frivolous lawsuits. They were misrepresenting themselves to the court, and
Mhm.
they geared their information and the claims to disadvantage the consumer. And
Mhm.
I was blown away. They even twisted some
Mhm.
of the laws and claimed that they were in compliance But in my investigations and in my
Mhm.
auditing of their lawsuits, they were not.
Oh my goodness. So wow. So a couple of things there. That's a lot to unpack. That is a lot to unpack. Because this is a lot, and understanding how this system works and how to navigate it is a powerful tool that can help us be a voice for the voiceless and sometimes defend ourselves if necessary. So you said they were obviously bending the law a bit, or they're, trying to misrepresent or, their interpretation of. But you said after your investigations and your auditing of them, so what type of digging were you doing then? Because this couldn't have been from the letter they served you with that you were able to audit them and
Well, actually, it was in the lawsuit.
oh, oh,
What I
okay.
did was I learned their language as I was
Mm,
digging into the lawsuits. And
love it.
one of the biggest problems we have is we read what we think it says as opposed to what it actually says.
Yes.
And they count on us as just normal people. We're not used to being sued, or we're not used to getting liens. So they count on us to not read what the real content is. But as I
Mhm,
began to read the content and I began to look at their exhibits and look at the laws that they reference,
mhm.
they couldn't be further from the truth. But
Right.
what I found is that 9 out of 10 cases, they win on default judgment because the consumers don't respond to the lawsuit.
Mm.
That's why a lot of liens end up on properties. That's why a lot of
Yep.
bank accounts are seized and wages are garnished because the people just aren't responding.
Yep, that's what happened with the lien that's on, my property where the lady had 6 days to sheriff's sale, and I ended up stopping the foreclosure auction and all that stuff and got it caught back up, took over that mortgage, but we were looking at refinancing a while back, the buyer was, and there's a couple liens on there. One of them is a judgment, and this place, I heard through a lawyer that did a title opinion for me, is what's called a zombie debt company.
Mhm.
They buy what's called zombie debt, and now they own that judgment. Right, and I don't know how they get paid off of it if they never collect, but yeah, it's crazy out there. So, hey, Terry, real quick, I'm getting a little feedback. Do you have headphones?
Let me I do. Hold on a second. I should be
Okay.
connected. Let me see
Yeah,
if I can let me let me see if it's my fan. Give me 1 second.
okay. Guys, this is something that is super important for what we do in solving these problems. And we're going to get you some games. So you guys better ask questions if you got any about how to negotiate these things, how to navigate the system, all that good stuff. Oh, looks like she just fell off, but we're going to get her back on here. This is super important. I'm telling you guys, I got this problem now. So I've got some questions for her during the question answer session, man. I need some help negotiating these things because this company, and it's only $1,200, man, but it's the principal. I don't want to pay that on that lien. So but they're trying to play hardball. And man, she's got some good information because she told me some things earlier in our conversation that I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Oh, okay, and kind of how to present it too. So when we're negotiating other liens, right? So the mortgage is a lien on a property, but then you can have mechanics liens, construction liens, tax liens, right? Bad debt, credit card liens, whatever, right? There, and you've got to be able to work those because they're second place, so you can get them taken care of. She's back. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You know what?
No feedback now.
Okay, it might have been my fan. I apologize. I
Oh,
tell
you're
you
good.
what, they don't want me to share the story. So we
Oh,
got some outside interference here. So we're gonna get through this.
that happened to me on one of my first big interviews too. So okay. So now you find out that they had a flawed argument, so to speak, right? That's being generous. And then so what's your next move? Yeah.
Um, my next move was I documented everything. Okay. And
Hmm.
so what I did is I took the information that they provided and I used
Hmm.
it as exhibits and defenses against them.
Use their own words
So
against them.
I used their own words against them so
Love
that
that.
when it came down for them to respond to my claim, they couldn't say I wasn't telling the truth because I took what they put in writing and I showed it to the court.
Right. Love that. Oh my goodness. So what at what point was this? Was this the 30th day where now you're showing things to the court and you're able to make that counter argument or defend
Well,
yourself pretty much?
well, how it works is once you've been sued, you have 30
Mhm.
days to respond, and during that time,
Mm,
you have to put affirmative defenses because if you don't, then
mhm,
you won't be able to raise them later. And
mhm.
affirmative defenses can shut down the case, which
What's
is
an affirmative defense?
affirmative defense says, even though they may or may not be correct in the things that they said, here's the reason why you need to rule against them.
And do you have to reference like case law or
You don't have to. No, you don't have to. You don't have
okay,
to.
okay.
Um, if
Mhm.
you have case law, that just beefs up
Icing on the cake.
case. But I
Mhm.
didn't use any case law.
So well then how long did this fight go on for then?
Well, what ended up happening is once I answered their questions
Mhm.
on the lawsuit, I created my affirmative defenses. I put in a prayer. A prayer is what you're asking the court for. They put in a prayer.
A prayer? A
Yeah.
prayer? Like
Uh-huh.
Prayer? Prayer?
Yes.
Get
Prayer.
the up and it's to the court? How
Yeah,
dare
praise the
those
Lord.
mother
That is not my
okay.
God. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You taught them a lesson though. So once you prayed to the court, what happened?
Right. I had to get that filed with the court before the 30th day. And
Mhm,
because I knew the condition of my brain and,
mhm.
I had to document things. If I didn't do that, I might not remember for a month. So
Right.
I gave myself a little extra time and I set alarms and I had tablets everywhere. And, you know, then I filed it with the court and then I had them served. So once I had them served, immediately, well, actually, once I filed it with the court, immediately the default judgment went out the window. There was no opportunity for them to get a judgment against me just because
Oh.
I responded.
Yes, so it's not a default judgment. A default judgment for the viewers means that you lost by default. You didn't show up. You weren't even in the game, so the other team that showed up won. But all Terry had to do was respond, and now
Right,
what happened?
right. And that goes for everybody. So like the people that have gotten liens from debt collectors or whatever that are on your properties,
Mhm.
they likely didn't respond. Even if they responded
Mm.
poorly, it would have shut down the default. But
Oh,
I never recommend that. You need to be strategic
yes.
because you want to have the case dismissed. And
Ultimately, that's what you want.
otherwise it's going to prolong it and you're going to have
Mhm.
to go through the process and then you didn't put in proper defenses. So you don't want to just throw any answer out there. You go to
Mhm.
win. Period.
Right, exactly. I tell my students, the go-getter family members that all the time. If you're gonna bet on yourself, you gotta give yourself the best odds at winning. So, like Terry
100%.
said, yeah, don't just throw something together. Like, go out, research it, or if there's experts out there, you can Google anything, you can YouTube anything, you can look for a podcast for anything. Sued by the
Yeah.
debt collector. Link in the description too, guys. So what how long did this go on for though? I wanna so you're going through the court process with them and you're fighting back and forth. Was that a long fight?
Well, the first lawsuit or one of the lawsuits, I believe it was that first one, I
Mhm,
responded so well. I crafted my answer so well. The next
mhm,
thing that was up was the status conference. And basically, with a status conference, that's where the judge says, hey, plaintiff, hey, defendant, hey, debt collector, hey, um, consumer, have you
mhm.
guys come to any agreement or arrangement, or have you even talked to each other? There's certain steps that, without me getting too technical.
Right.
There's certain things
Mhm.
that the judge wants to know. And
Okay.
when that was during COVID, so mine got pushed out a year and
Uh,
a half. But
ooh.
yeah, typically that status conference comes up within about 2 months, maybe 3 months. But
Mm,
mine was
okay.
because of COVID. But I there's a whole crazy story behind. Do you want me to tell you the story?
What you got? What
Okay,
you
I'll
got?
tell you the story. Okay, so because it was during COVID, what the courts did is they had phone conferences, phone hearings.
Oh yeah.
And me, I've never been sued before. I didn't know. We've never had COVID before. I didn't know what
Mhm,
to expect. Well,
mhm.
lo and behold, something told me to check the website, and it said that I had to register for the phone conference because they were not allowing anybody in the court.
Oh,
Well,
and
I didn't know.
uh,
I
lack of
didn't
knowledge,
know.
lack of strategic knowledge. I just did a live last night of the 4 things that, are the most common mistakes that people make, and having, the wrong tactical and strategic knowledge was on that list, and this is what happened here, right?
100%. Well, and then the thing about it is, I had a friend of mine. I had her call in on the public line, so she was my ears, and
Okay.
I tried to register, and I had to register by a certain date and time, which I think was like on a
Yeah.
Friday by four
Mhm.
o'clock. Well, they cut it off at 1 o'clock, so I couldn't
Mm.
register on the phone. So I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? So
Uh-huh.
I showed up at the court on that, I think it was Tuesday when it was due. I couldn't register. I couldn't get
Right,
in.
right.
And so my
Mhm,
friend, she was on there, and I'm at the court. I'm there on time. I'm trying to get in. I'm talking to people, and they're like,
mhm.
go here, go there, go here, go there. And then
Uh-huh,
finally I got to the courtroom, and one
uh-huh.
guy, you know how we talk about gatekeepers, he
Yeah,
wasn't having
yep.
it. He didn't care. It wasn't his problem. He was not going to try to find the right person for me to talk to. He had the
One
key
of
to
the
get into the
employees?
courtroom.
Are you serious?
He didn't care.
This is what I tell you guys all the time. Obstructionists, they are obstructionists, but you can't take no for an answer.
And that for that reason, that's why you have to be prepared. You have to be ready.
Mhm, mhm,
Because if you
mhm.
stay ready, then you don't have to get ready. You'll be able to
That's
pivot. You'll
right.
be able to shift.
Yep,
But
yep, like
again,
water.
oh my gosh. So I'm texting my friend, and I'm like, did they call me yet? She's like, you're not in the courtroom. Oh my God, they called your name. I'm like, oh my God, they called my name. And here
No.
I did everything right. I did everything right.
Uh-huh,
I
yep,
responded to the lawsuit. I avoided the default judgment. I showed up in court. I did everything I was supposed to do. And you know
yep,
what?
huh.
They didn't show up either.
Ooh, I bet you that happens a lot. I bet you that happens a lot.
Well, you know what? Um, I think it may, but
Uh-huh,
what I also realize is that they don't just go with one case. They have
uh-huh.
multiple cases when they go to court. So I
Gotcha.
don't understand why they didn't respond, because I
That
know
might have
they
been
have
just
multiple
the
cases.
good Lord. Yeah, because they're talking about some do your prayer to the courts. Yeah, I got something for you. Yeah, yeah, the Lord got something for you. You gonna pray to the courts? I told
That's
your
not
ass about
happening.
that. Yeah, I told your ass about that. So I got something. So they didn't show up. So now you're in a position, and this is just your first one, right? You had
Yeah,
3
this
of
was
them.
the first one.
Oh my goodness. So how long did the battle last for all 3 of them?
They were staggered, and then they had different reasons for them being dismissed. That one, they
Mm,
didn't show up at the status conference, but the judge
okay,
read my statement, and I put certain key things in there,
okay.
hoping that the judge would read it, and he did. And so he scheduled the next hearing for that one. It was an order to show cause why they didn't show up. So
Mhm.
what ended up happening is he sent them a message and said, here's your next court date, which was 2 years to the day. And I kept emphasizing that on my statement, how they hadn't taken action after I had responded. They
It's
hadn't
been
done
2
anything.
years? It's been 2 years at that point?
2 years. Two,
Holy,
two.
is this affecting your credit in a negative way
It is.
during that time?
It is. And I will talk about that too, if you'd like me to talk about that.
Gosh.
It
Yeah,
is.
I just wanna make sure we are able to get some questions in too, so we can, give
I'm
some
following
game
your
to the
flow.
people. But so they take 2 years after you responded initially,
Yeah, 30 days. I had 30 days to respond.
and
And
then
they
you
fell off
respond
the face of the earth. They did.
after the first response. Oh my god.
Yeah, they fell
That
off the face of the earth.
that's
And then
insane.
and then the second hearing, They didn't show up again. The judge said, and it was so crazy. The judge called, but I was ready this time. I was on the call. And the
Mhm.
judge called my name again. And I was fumbling over the phone trying to get off of mute. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening
Oh,
today.
nervous. Yeah, like it's finally happening, and then you're like, "This is my first time." So I'm like, "Oh my god."
And so I was like, Your Honor, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And I
Mhm.
said, this is the defendant. And he said, so what do you want? And this goes back to being ready and knowing what you want and what your expectation is.
Boom.
He said, so what do you want? And I
What do you
said,
want?
well, can we dismiss the case? He said,
Boom.
case dismissed.
Gone. Love it. Love
I,
it.
I said, can we dismiss it with prejudice? He said, we'll dismiss it with prejudice. I'll have the clerk write it up for you.
So real quick. So for the unprepared, even if they got to that hearing, because the same lady that has that judgment, that lien against her property, that's now a judgment. She had her foreclosure hearing. And in that hearing, she was not prepared, and all she wanted to try to do was say how wrong the other side was.
She wanted to tell
Right
her
there.
story.
Yep. That people want to tell their story and they want to get that off their chest, right? This is why
Yeah.
we cannot let our emotions take
Yeah.
control of us, and we have to remain strategic and tactical in our approach. Because what do we gain by sitting there telling our story or telling how wrong they are? And hey, oh, I told them, I went down to the courthouse and I told them. Well, you still got a judgment against that ass. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I talk about that all of the time. If you're not going to hire an attorney, then you need to come with your A game. If you're going to be
uh-huh,
lazy, you have to come with your A game. And you don't need an attorney to respond to this, but you
right.
cannot be emotional. You cannot. But
You got to
you
be
have
on it.
to understand. I talk about the audiences. Who is your audience? When
Yes.
you're being sued,
Mhm,
pre-lien, you've got
mhm,
the people that are suing you, so that's one audience. You've
mhm.
got the judge, that's a second
Okay,
audience. The
very true.
jury, that's a third audience. So you've got all these people that you
Mhm.
have to kind of prepare for.
Yeah, because you gotta communicate differently with
It's
each one.
absolutely, you have to be
Mhm.
able to speak their language. The reason why the debt collector vanished is because I spoke their language and I put them in a position where they were no longer offense.
Right,
Now
they would have to
they had to
expose.
defend themselves against me.
Yep, they had
And
to
my case
expose
was
that
so
that trick play
strong.
they was running.
Say again?
I said they would have had to expose that trick play they was running on you.
That they were trying to run on me.
Mhm,
Absolutely.
mhm,
Absolutely.
mhm,
And so by me stopping them at the front door, it never made it to the judge. It never made it to the second and the third and the fourth audiences.
mhm.
You see,
Love it.
but I was not emotional. I was
Right.
strategic. I
Yep.
looked at, the things that they were saying, their claims,
Mhm.
and I painted the picture. I always talk about you got to paint the picture because their job, they paint the picture. Look,
Yep.
these
It's
people
theater.
owe, and we want a default judgment, and they can
Mm.
give it because if you don't respond, the judge is going to give the default judgment. He's
Yeah, it's
going to do
procedural.
it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
procedural law, right?
yeah,
Like you didn't follow procedure, so you lost. I don't care
yeah.
if they don't even know who you are. You didn't
And
respond.
and you know what? The courts know. The courts know that these debt buyers are
Mhm.
filing frivolous lawsuits. They know that they're disadvantaging the consumers. But the
Yeah.
problem is that if you don't show up for yourself, how can the judge fight for you?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. That's why, guys, this is understand this. Like, even with real estate, right? We have been taught a lie
Huh?
our entire life. The real estate that you have learned is a lie. All right. Because there's a better way to do it. And it's, I would venture to say that it's like that with most aspect banking, credit, debt
Yes.
collection, right?
Hmm.
Sued by the debt
Interest
collector.
rates.
Yeah, yep. We have been taught a lie. So
Yes.
understand that there is a game plan that is put out there for us to operate by, and then there's a game plan behind the scenes, behind the veil, right? For them to operate by. And we all have access to that information, right? But are you going to get that information? And then when you get it, are you going to deliver it in a way that is effective to get
Mhm.
you to your results, so talk to me about that a little bit, because we're about 35 minutes in, so I want to ask you a couple of questions,
Sure.
because I have this lien, that I'm dealing with, and it's not really, it's kind of like a fly at the cookout. I want to take the foil off the food, and the fly keep buzzing around, and I'm like, man, get out because we're about to eat, and I got to cover it's kind of like that, bothersome, right? But so I emailed them, and I just got some account manager, and she says the amount, and I said, oh yeah, well, the house was going to go in foreclosure, kind of threatening your second position.
Hmm.
So what amount would satisfy this debt for you? And then she's like, well, we have to get the whole amount. We don't negotiate that. And then I shot her back a question, and she still wasn't going for it. So I said, all right, I'm gonna let her simmer down because I got time.
Yeah.
How would you suggest to go about that situation?
Well, as entrepreneurs, and I'm assuming most everybody in on here, you're an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things we have to do is to overcome objections. And not only that, we have to have an avatar. An avatar, for those that don't know, is your ideal customer. You need to understand who they are. You need to understand how they function, what their role is, how they tick, what they listen to. You
Mm-hmm.
have to um, you have to warm them up,
Mm-hmm.
because we're talking about debt collection, and debt
Mm-hmm.
collection is harsh.
Yes.
This is what they do every day.
Mm-hmm.
This is what
So,
they do
mhm.
every single day.
They
And
become
I'm
some
going to give you.
hardened souls.
Let me give you something quick. Um,
Okay.
one of my consultations was a gentleman. He thought that he could, negotiate with the debt collector, and they had filed the lawsuit. And he told them, "Listen, I'll pay you $100 a month until I can get back on my feet."
Okay.
And he, excuse me, he said, my 12-year-old daughter, she went into the hospital, and she's racked up $30,000. We've racked up $30,000 in medical bills. And as soon as I can get back on my feet, I will, pay you more. And
Mhm.
then he told them, but my 12-year-old passed away. And
Mm.
let me just tell you how harsh the people are that you're trying to negotiate with. This is what they said to him. They said, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but we'll just go ahead and pursue the lawsuit.
Mm.
Cut and dry.
Didn't even give
So
a damn.
evil, so harsh.
Yeah.
And so when you're in the place where you're negotiating with these people concerning the
Mhm.
liens and the payoffs and stuff,
Mhm. Mhm.
they're going to talk to you in a manner that's not acceptable. They're
Right.
going to keep telling you no. They're going to keep pushing you. They're going to keep, but what you have to do is you have to become, um, let them get to know you, like you, and trust you as much as a debt collector is going to trust you. And then you
Mhm.
have to show them, okay, with them, what's in it for me?
Love it.
Okay.
WIIFM.
Yes. What
What's in
is
it for
in
me?
it for me? And,
Love that.
you know, our job as entrepreneurs is to be problem solvers. This is
Yes.
just another problem. And the
Mhm.
person that's on the other line, they have a problem. This money is being
Mhm.
held hostage.
Yes.
Their
Yep.
job is to be in business to what? Make profit.
Make money. Yeah, make money.
So
Yep.
what you have to figure out is how to get this money into their hands. And
Mhm.
what that's going to look like, or what it could look like, is negotiating an accelerated payment if they would negotiate into a lower rate.
Is that the language?
Yeah.
Nego so
Accelerated
are
payment.
what so if we were doing some high level negotiating, we would say to them at a certain point, so are you against negotiating an accelerated payment?
Absolutely. Perfect
Mm,
verbiage.
because we want them to say, well, no, we're not against that.
Right. And remind
Mhm,
them um, gently, you know,
mhm,
I think that we can help each other. I know that firm X, Y, and Z is here to be in business. You're interested in gaining profit. And with this
mhm.
money sitting over here, all that's happening over here is the value of the dollar is depreciating.
Going down,
It's
inflation.
going
You're
down.
losing money. Yep,
So
love it.
let's
Okay.
work together and create a win-win.
Hmm.
Let's negotiate something that's reasonable and fair, and let's get this accelerated payment in your hand so that you can take that
Hmm.
money and reinvest it.
Yes, because it's
Because
not
right
doing
now it's
anything
being
for them
held
then.
hostage.
Got to bribe them with the candy sometimes. um, so I like that though, what you said, right? Because understanding the psychology of the
Yes.
situation is going to put you in a beneficial place. This is what I say to people, because we have this problem a lot, right? When we feel like we have been wronged, we want to go back and give that person a piece of our mind, or you think you can cheat me out of something, or you think you can sell me this lemon of a car and it breaks down, and then what happens is that person that sold you that lemon, right, or cheated you out or whatever, they are going to become obstructionists and do whatever they
Yeah.
can to make
I'm
sure,
not
yeah, that the
looking at
process.
you.
Right. So like Terry said, understand the psychology of the situation. These people are harsh, callous people. So there's nothing that we can say to try to get that emotional, sympathy out of them.
Right.
So then we have to kind of switch to mutually beneficial here.
Yes. And you have to treat them like they're your target market. You have to overcome their objections.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and let me tell you one of the objections that you're going to have when you're
Yeah, I was
dealing
just
with
about to ask
property.
that. You read my mind. I was gonna say, well, what are some of the objections? All right, go ahead then, lay it on out.
A big objection when you're dealing with a lien that's on the property is the
Hmm.
fact that there's equity in the property. So
Okay.
when there's equity in the property,
Hmm.
they really are not interested in negotiating a lower rate because there's money there to be taken.
Right. So they feel like they can get that extra,
Right.
or they're
We
gonna
can
at
get the
least
full
get
payment
theirs
because there's $100,000 of equity in there. What are you
in
talking about?
equity. So if it goes to auction or whatever, and that first position lien is paid, there's gonna be more that it makes because of all that equity. So we're in second place or we're in third place. So how
Absolutely.
do you, how would you overcome that then if they're like, well, we can wait because all this equity?
Well, that's a good question. That's something that I really think that a good brainstorming session, with several people, good
Hmm. Hmm.
strategic minds, need to come up because if you can solve that
Hmm.
problem, you know,
Hmm.
in my opinion, I think maybe you have to change the order of importance.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The order of importance
Yeah.
are you guys in business to let that debt sit, and then also, so that 7 year timetable doesn't make a difference to you, right? Because it isn't a judgment on a person for 7 years. I know this house that I'm working had two liens on it, and one of them was about to drop off because it had been 7 years. So after that seventh year, I didn't even have to fiddle with that thing anymore. It was gone.
Well, that's a beautiful, perfect storm. That's a perfect situation.
Mhm.
But the reality is, liens can be renewed.
Ooh,
They can be renewed.
okay.
And so, if I could give you a nugget as it relates to that, is
Uh-huh.
if you're approaching the expiration of that lien,
Okay.
be ready to have everything done. So, if that lien holder
Uh-huh.
realizes, because it's been there 7 years, it's not going to be top on their list to think to go check
Right.
it.
Mhm.
It could expire. You're ready to go. Get it refied, and then you'll be able to fly below radar, and the lien is gone.
Wait, so after, but okay, so after that expiration, then there's nothing they can do after that expiration date is up. It's over. They can't come back after you or anything.
They can renew it. They have to go through the
Oh, even
process to renew
after?
it.
Oh, even after that 7. So if it's 8 years later, they can
Um,
renew it.
I think that would technically be up to the discretion of the court,
Okay, but they can
but
still put in that
because the
petition.
original judgment did exist, they can't,
Right.
and you're talking about a human being on the bench.
Yes. So how are you ready? You said get ready for it. How would you
Yes,
get ready for it?
because if that is about to expire,
Okay.
okay, so I'm gonna use simple dates. Let's say it's gonna expire on
Mhm.
January 1st.
Okay.
If you've done all of your preparation so that you can get that property out
Mhm.
of that
Mhm.
person's name, or whatever your process is,
Boom.
have everything prior to the expiration, so when that expiration hits on January 1st,
Yeah.
come January 2nd, you've already made your move. So by the time these
Uh,
people realize, oh, I got to get down there and renew that lien, and they got to
mhm.
go to court or whatever, it's 7 years. That's
Mhm.
not going to be top on their list.
Right,
Right.
right, right.
Right.
I got that. Yeah, no, yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, go
So
ahead.
you need to prepare, get all your documentation, get everything set up, and so you can
Uh-huh.
get in and get out, and before they know it,
Yes. It's over.
that's
So
what I would
I
do.
got a solution. This is what my mentors say because my two of my mentors are the top dogs in this strategy. And in real estate, one of them, and just real estate in general. Well, what they say is always keep debt on your property. Okay, so if your property ends up being paid off, what you do is it's owned outright. So what you do is you put debt on that property. You borrowed money from an associate, right, or another person, and now there's a note on that property, right, where you owe that person money. So they have a lien on your property for
Hmm,
that money, right? So now
interesting.
that debt is in first place.
Now
So
it's
if
in
they
first
do,
position.
yep, first position, yes. So now if they do renew their lien, that is going to be in second position.
Hmm.
There's debt on that property. So you have room to negotiate. This is what I mean.
Yes.
Creative
Yes.
problem solving, but
It,
you yeah,
absolutely.
you got to be
It's
advanced.
creative.
You like that's advanced knowledge right there. Most people, I'm sure, that are watching this weren't aware of something, like that. But we can do it. This is why knowing the rules to the game
Know the
puts you
rules of the
in it.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're in this game. We're in this game whether we want to be or not. Real estate
Right.
and credit and debit. We're in it whether we want to be or not. Money is it's fiat currency anyway, so it's credit debit anyway, right? So if you spend money, guess what game you're in? You're in the credit game. If you live in a house, you are in the real estate game because you're either paying somebody on the first or you're getting paid on the first.
Yeah.
So my life has changed ever since I stopped paying people on the first and started
Hey.
getting paid. Oh, but we get our payments on the 28th, y'all. But yeah, but
Absolutely.
yeah, but I learned those high level rules. I love it. I love it. So I love what what you said there with the negotiating and then also being prepared. So we know, right? So that putting that new debt, even if I put new debt on this one house, right, that I own, that I took over the debt on, it would still be in a higher position of the one that dropped off after the 7 years. So if they did renew that, they're behind me. And then I've got to just take care of this first one. And I don't know how long that has left or what. If we got time to wait, hey, I'm still making money on it. So, um, so guys, do you guys have any questions for Terry here? Gems and deals is all I eat. I am starving, bro. Got to make my first deals. I'm driving around looking for distressed properties, asking my friends and family if they hear something. Got to take more action. Hey, I'm gonna be having a challenge here pretty soon, Jay Moniz. And where are you from, Jay Moniz? I'm from Iowa. I like to know where people are from. Small town boy. But but I'm about to be having a challenge here soon. Getting more deals,
Yeah.
getting more deals. The getting more deals challenge, I might even call it. But I'm gonna put you guys on with that challenge, right? So I love this because Jay Moniz, what you're doing speaks right to what we're talking about tonight. You're driving around, you said, driving around looking for distressed properties. Well, the indications of a distressed property are overgrown grass, right?
Yep.
Unkept, piled up newspapers,
Yep.
could have the a red tag on the door, right?
Yep,
So in a red tag, yeah, and red tag in my city, that means that it's been condemned for whatever reason. And it could be something slight too. So if you're looking at distressed properties, guess what these properties are more likely to have on them? Liens.
liens.
Liens. Yes. So what I want to know, Terry, is if there's a tax lien on there, a government lien of some sort, well, how do you go about, even because it's hard to break the fortress of even communication with the government?
Um, as far as tax lien goes, do you know how tax liens work? Let me ask you that.
Well, I do. There's redemption, and then there's tax deeds, right? So you can buy that tax debt once they've defaulted on it on a redemption, and you wait the redemption period. A person has about 2 years in some states, 1 year in other states, to pay back those back taxes and whatever fees are associated with it, and they can get their house back. But
And
if they don't,
interest.
yeah, and interest, right? Fees and interest that are associated with it, right? But if they don't, then that person who bought that debt, they now own that house.
Correct.
Right. So
That is correct.
yeah, we have a strategy of, hey, we'll go talk to them during that redemption period and say, hey, we can help you. We've got
Yeah,
the paperwork, the attorneys, the team to get you some money even when you didn't think you had any coming. That way you don't lose your house for just for anything, right?
yeah.
So I do know that part. What about before it goes to the auction, right? The tax deed auction. How do we get in negotiation with the government on getting a payment plan set up, a repayment plan, or what did you call it, accelerated payment option started?
Um, well, if it's a tax lien situation, that is a government
Mm,
issue, and
mm-hmm.
they do have certain protocol. So
Okay.
they're not just going to just turn it over to the first Joe that knocks on the door, because there's
Right.
investors out there with deep, deep pockets. Okay. And when you go down to the records office
Mm-hmm.
for the
Okay.
county, or
Okay.
it's going to be for the county. When you go down to the
Mm-hmm.
records office for the county, they'll let you know which properties are going up for auction, and then you can
For
do
tax
your
deed auction.
research. Yes, yes.
Okay. So how they let you know that? What do you ask them?
You want, I want to see what tax lien properties are going up for auction.
That's it. Boom.
Yeah,
What's on your list?
yeah. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's websites that you can do research. You can do research before you ever
Mm-hmm.
get there. But if you're not used to any of that, my recommendation is go down there and understand the system and how it works. Get it from the horse's mouth.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
And
and then
mm-hmm.
to your point, um,
Mm-hmm.
people can purchase tax liens, and
Mm-hmm.
there may or may not be a redemption period. Some places they
Mm-hmm.
just give you the property outright.
Yep.
Some they give you the deed. Some they you have to wait 6 months or 30 days, or 1 year, and then the
Mm-hmm.
homeowner has to bring that debt current, pay the fees, and pay you interest, and then they can take their property
Yes.
back.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So there's, see, what I like to do is what Terry recommended. Oh no, my computer's about to die. Why is that not plugged in? Oh my goodness.
oh, just one more technical issue. I get it. So, see, it wasn't just me. I'm just telling you that if technology is trying to prevent you guys from getting what you need, you better be ready, because sometimes you're just going to have to step in and get it. you know and I'm really excited about what you guys are doing, and that you're being able to help these people that have these liens and stuff. But the negotiation process, I'm it's going to be tough, it's going to be harsh, and you have to treat them as if they are your target market. Because if you can break that barrier and you can establish some type of rapport or some type of relationship, maybe they can hip you onto some other deals. Because these let's say these debt buyers, they're putting liens on these properties. You think it's just one? No, they have a ton of deals that they're purchasing, and that they're getting defaults on 9 out of 10. They're getting defaults on 9 out of 10 um, lawsuits. So if you can
9 out of
establish
10.
that rapport with these people, then maybe they can hip you to some other properties.
Boom. You
I'm
said it.
just
I
saying.
love that. Yep. That's our strategy. I don't teach my students to go buy tax deeds and then wait the redemption period. Absolutely not. No, we do not just go buy houses from up under a person and wait on their demise. I don't like that. at all. So what I recommend to my students is go get that list, like Terry had mentioned, and now you know what are with the ones that are coming up for sheriff's deed auction. You can reach out to them and let
Yeah.
them know, hey, we help people by helping them with their options when they're in a situation when the government's giving them a hard time, about some finances they may owe. We help people understand those options. So how has it been, dealing with them up to this point? Right? You ask that question, boom. So because they probably went through hell, man, trying to get through to people, trying to set up a payment plan. The payment plan wasn't enough. They couldn't make high enough payments, so the government just keeps, going through with that. So they feel like they're at the end of their rope. And the good part is we can get them under contract, right? That's the S in my ACEs method, right? Secure the deal, get the right paperwork authorized. Then we can either use our own money or find a buyer and pay off those back taxes. And now we
Boom.
own the property.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you give them an opportunity to an extra 30 days or whatever they need to, get their affairs in order and not be threatened by the sheriff coming, knocking on their
Right.
door saying, okay, your husband sold, you got to get out. You got, 3
Yep.
days.
Yep. Exactly. Nick.
So
Yep.
that's actually, in my opinion, a really, really good strategy.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying. People don't think that way. That's the problem. We've got to stop thinking all the time, oh, well, how much money can I make off of this person? How much money can I make off of this house? And instead, have
Yeah.
on the front of our mind, how can I help this person? How
Yeah.
can I get this person to their goal? And when you do
Thank
that,
you, Nick.
yeah, the side effect of that is you getting to your goal.
Yeah.
That's the way the world goes around, entrepreneurialism.
And it's
So,
easy because if you take care of the people,
mhm,
you'll get the reciprocation of it.
yes.
You will.
Hmm.
You'll get the reciprocation of it. You don't have to take advantage of people.
Nope,
You don't
sure
have to.
don't. Sure don't. Sure don't. Especially when you know those rules. When you
And the
know the
people
rules.
know what situation they're in. They just
Mhm.
didn't take action to fix it.
Right.
And now you're just creating options for them. It's not even you're trying to sell them anything. You're just giving them
Boom.
options.
That's it. We don't see, and I got a method I call it's the ACEs method, right? And the A is awareness, right? So people have to be aware that we do what we do, whether we're knocking on their door, calling them, sending out postcards, whatever type of marketing. The C is credibility and counseling.
Mm,
So we are gaining credibility with them by counseling them on these other options that they did not know were aware of, because most people don't understand how to do this and how to do it on a high level. So they get to a certain point with the traditional way of doing real estate, and they're just like, oh well, you don't have enough equity, you can't sell it,
right.
you don't want to make the repairs, whatever. So no, we come in, we give them more options. Love it. Same thing. Truth is universal.
Yeah.
Truth is
Yeah.
universal. Yeah, that's awesome. So there are a lot of opportunities now. You have a unique way of finding people to help with their sued by the debt collector situation, and
I
that
do.
is going in public records. Now, when you are going and you are looking for people to help, you're seeing that these people have liens on property, have judgments against them. What are you looking for when you're going to find people to help with this situation?
Well, just to kind of, let's just take a stroll down the path
Hmm.
first.
Hmm.
So these people had something happen, some catastrophic event happened. Just
Yeah.
because they've been sued, it doesn't make them a bad character, it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means an event happened, okay,
Hmm.
that affected their life. And then, so they get the letters and the phone calls and the harassment and blah, blah, blah. And at some point, um, then it gets turned over to a debt collector. Okay.
Hmm.
And I just want to qualify something for those of you that may not know. I'm in the state of California, and the law says that when the original creditor collects on their own debt, they are not considered a debt collector.
What are they considered?
They're just the original creditor collecting on their debt.
So they can go outside of the FDCPA?
There's certain things that don't apply because of that. Yes.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So a debt collector would be like a debt buyer, or when they get the contracts assigned to them and that kind of thing, not
Hmm.
technically the original creditor.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Yep.
so then they get sued. So my job is to prevent them from getting that default judgment so that they
Hmm.
don't get that lien. Now, even though let's say we get them to respond to the lawsuit and they
Hmm.
don't get that judgment, they still owe on the mortgage, and so that's still going to be an issue.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
see what I'm
But
saying?
yeah,
But
yeah,
what
absolutely.
your team, what
Hmm.
happens is, let's say we stop the default judgment, but we know who they are now. Now they have a little more time, and then you can get in there and probably finesse the situation a little bit more and
Hmm.
alleviate some of the stress from them and see
Right.
if you can create a better option for them.
So you're finding out about about some of these people on in public records, right?
100%.
Okay, so in and these people are all people that have this problem for you to solve. So if they have a property connected to them,
Yep.
which is also, guys, I'm trying to put two and two together. Follow the breadcrumbs. All you gotta do is follow the breadcrumbs when you're looking. Yeah, yeah, you got to be looking. So if these people already have an action against them, a court action against them, and they're in danger of a judgment, you have access to the records of people, obviously, who do. But
Yeah.
then you can see if these people own a property too. If they own a property, then that property is at risk of having that lien judgment attached to it, right?
Hmm.
So what that does is, if we can get access to them even before the judgment is has been, rendered, is executed,
Yep.
well then they're going to remember us if we just reached out to them and let them know that we exist. We're not trying
100%.
to buy their house, we're not trying to buy nothing, we don't want nothing from them, we're letting them know that we exist and we're the first ones. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be getting together with Terry to get some information for the Go Getter family on, one, how to negotiate these liens, and a framework, different types, different archetypes of these personalities that you will run into in these debt collection organizations, and then also negotiating them and how to maneuver within the language, even getting them removed if that's at all possible, right? If we know how to do that, guess what that does, guys? That makes us Superman. We're the Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the Avengers, man. I call Thor, guys. I like the hammer. So whoever you guys want to be cool, I'm Thor of the Avengers. So, with this information, we can be that. We can be that. Because how good did it feel, Terry? Real quick, and then I'll let you get up out of here. But how good did it feel when you got those heathens off of your back?
Oh
Vampires.
man, I recorded a video
Uh huh. Uh huh.
and I'm dancing. Hey,
Hey.
hey.
Okay. Okay.
Um, it was funny because I had just recorded an episode, not an episode. I had just recorded a module in my program for those people
Okay.
that have been sued.
Hmm.
And then I had gotten a phone call and I came right back and I re-recorded and I told them what happened in live time.
Oh.
So
Yes,
it
in
was,
real
yeah,
time. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
awesome. That is awesome. That's so cathartic too. Like you were doing that at the same time, then you get that phone call. And did you have were you confident though? Like while they were waiting to pass that judgment, to give that judgment, were you confident that you were going to win?
I was. And I'll
Okay.
tell you why.
Mhm.
Um, I don't want to cuss. My stuff
You can
was
cuss.
so
I cuss
good.
all the time. Yeah, I cuss all the time. So go ahead.
My stuff was so good. My responses were so good. It was
Mhm.
so detailed. It was so on point. I gave them nothing and they had nowhere to go.
Not a
So even
inch, not
if
a sliver. They was
not
like
an
this. Yeah,
absolutely.
they
And
couldn't even.
I create strategies. I love strategy. That's what I do. Okay.
Yeah.
And one of
Okay.
the strategies that I have for my students
Hmm.
is to make them spend money.
Ooh, I like.
I
I
make them spend
like
money
that.
because they sued you. And
Mhm.
but they're buying it for pennies on the dollar, right? They've hired
Right.
a lawyer team to represent them. And so now
Okay.
they're paying the lawyers and they're paying the paralegals and they're paying filing fees. And depending
Right.
on how much the lien is, all of
Mhm.
that is eating away
At that
at
profit.
absolutely.
Yes.
And so by me responding, now they got to come back and do more lawyer work, which is going to eat away more and more at the profit.
Right. Right.
And
Okay.
you can actually use that also, because when you're negotiating on that lien, they've already had stuff that's been eating away at that profit because I'm on the other end of that.
Yep. Yep.
You see what I'm
And then
saying?
that's what it's about. It's about that bottom line. So if you
Yeah.
got that strategy, see, the thing is, guys, are you going to play chess? Or are you going to play checkers?
Shit.
Cause
Yes, I
yeah,
am.
because we not doing no. Oh, I jumped you, and then I jumped that. That's a double jump. No, we're talking about your rook hitting something all the way from across the board, sniping them out. They didn't even see that thing because they moved this piece over here. That is chess. So you know what? You want to give us a hard time? We're gonna come at you with this strategy real quick because this lien looks like the numbers on this thing can't stand too much legal fees. So we're gonna make this thing a bad asset on your
Right.
book.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. That's creative right there. Oh, love
That's what
that.
it's all about. Yeah, it's about that creative problem solving. That's why I've got some enhancements that we're making for the inner circle with our ACEs method, our 4 Ps of real estate investing, right? And then also, identifying our target. And that way you will have the intellectual capacity to look at a situation and solve it. You've seen the next 7 steps of what's going
Right.
to happen, and they don't even know what's coming. That's what I love about it. So, Terri, I'm gonna let you get up out of here. We've been on here a little over an hour. The people are loving you. And you did great. You did great. I applaud you. So for this person though, let me answer this real quick. I do
I was
not
just going to
offer.
tell
I
you
do
somebody
not
had a
offer that.
question.
Yeah, the land trust contracts. That's only to my inner circle. I will be coming out with something for you guys on that, but I'm having the a Get More Deals challenge here really soon, and all of this stuff is going to be part of that. So you guys want to make sure that you're getting to that challenge, man, because that thing's going to be off the hook. You're going to get. I'm not even going to dive into that, but I got you. You still don't need to know. Okay, well, damn, I don't need to know where you're from. You're supposed to put where you're
Still
from
don't
on
need
when
to
you
know
ask
what.
the question. Yeah, I'm like, you still don't need to. Yeah, oh, okay, that's it. You got me.
Got it.
You got me. So do you have any last words for the people, Terri? We really enjoyed you and appreciate you. What you got for us?
My biggest thing to entrepreneurs, first, well, a couple things. What you lack in resources, you make up in creativity.
Boom.
Okay.
Mic drop.
So,
Love it.
so find your creativity, because you'll be able to create ways of infiltrating your desired industry.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to be the first in the market, and you'll be doing things that other people aren't doing.
That's right.
Be creative.
Yes.
That's it for me.
That's it. You know what's Cause see, this is the thing too, Terri, and man, uh um God brought us together, and that's how things work when you continue to push, have faith, know that the difficult things that we are given in life are actually, a gift. And the thing about God created us, God created the universe, right? And Dr. Myron Golden talks about this a lot. So we are naturally, if you want to be in your purpose, you need to be creating. What are you creating? And that comes
What are
in
you creating?
so many, yeah, that comes in so many different forms, though, guys. So many different forms. I'm creating daily, man, daily, whether it's I'm creating generational wealth for my students and my go-getter family members. I'm
Yeah,
creating systems to help. We're creating. So when you are creating, you are in your purposes, your purpose. You have become what you need to be in order to achieve the results that you want.
right.
So, like Terri said, be creative and you can compete. So, um, guys, we
I
got you.
certainly hope that I added value for everyone. I didn't want to come on here and not,
100%.
contribute.
100%. Nick says, Gene, you're gonna do some vids on handling liens. Nick, this was on handling liens. Was we watching 2 different shows? Yeah, we talked about it, man. But we're gonna actually Terri and I are gonna connect because I see, how this can help augment what we already do and put another tool in that tool belt that is a nice one. So Terry and I are going to be connecting and collaborating and getting some things together so that you guys can go out there and be more effective in what
Sure.
we do. All right. So I've got a appointment tomorrow with a gentleman in Denver. We're talking about two of his properties. He wants to deal with the condo first, 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, worth 400 some thousand, has about 200,000 in debt. They're behind on HOH fees. All right. So they're in danger. That is a lien, HOA lien. That's a lien.
Man,
Yeah. And then
liens are
other
no
property.
joke.
Right. That's what it's all about. A mortgage is a lien, guys. That's what a mortgage is. It's a lien on your property. That property is collateral for the mortgage. So a mortgage is a first place lien, first position. This house is worth 1.9 million. It has 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. Yeah. Now Denver's inflated, right? The market's inflated, but I don't even care because I'm taking over that.
Airbnb it.
Yeah. What Airbnb? Yeah. I mean, there's so many things. Oh my goodness. So this is the thing. This is the thing. When we have this creative problem solving ability, guess
Yeah.
what we can do? We are able to solve other people's real estate
Solve the
problems.
problem.
That's it. That's it. Terry, we love you. We are definitely going to have you back on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, because I got so much more I need to unpack with you. So we got to have you back on. All right. So guys, I want you guys to go check Terry out at Sued by the Debt Collector. That's her podcast. That's her YouTube, her social media handles as well. But there's a link there's a couple of links in the description with her website and her podcast. So I want you guys to go check that out if you're looking for information on how to maneuver, because if we talk that language, they gotta listen to us. They gotta listen.
And if you could, please like, subscribe, share. My biggest challenge is because I'm breaking ground and I'm the first to do what I'm doing, is that I have to create awareness. So if you know anybody,
Mhm.
even if you don't, just share it anyway, because the information is valuable. And just tell them, you know what, let's just boost this channel up. Let's just help this so that we can, be one for the people. I'm working
Yeah,
for the people. So if you
that's what
could,
it is.
please, please,
Yeah,
please.
check her out. You're gonna get some great knowledge anyway, because this is what we deal with. I just told you guys I'm dealing with it on one house, and then a prospect with a lot of properties with a lot of equity.
Yeah.
Liens, guys. This is it.
And you'll have insight to the people that you're
Hmm.
going to be sourcing afterwards.
Ooh, so I'm excited. I am excited. I mean, wouldn't it be amazing, guys? Would this not be cool if you find a property, it's in foreclosure or whatever the distress situation is, and it's exacerbated by some liens that have been stopping the transaction from getting done. The realtor's listing it, they get to closing, they can't get it done because they cannot clean this title up. Would it not be amazing if
Hmm.
you step in there and you're able to get that transaction done when the realtor couldn't get it done, the escrow and title company couldn't get it done, which they don't work too much on that, but you come in and you look like a freaking magician.
You're a
What?
hero.
Yeah, you're Superman. I mean, would that not be amazing? And we have this knowledge sitting right at our fingertips, man. I do this shit all the time, guys. That's why I love what I do. And I'm so hyped all the time about what I do. I got so much energy, man, because we are out there making a difference. And we're
Yeah.
taking control back though.
Right.
Because they're used to controlling us, but now we know the rules. So we're like, hold on. No, we
That
ain't doing
part.
that. I love it. I love it. So, guys, I'm gonna get up out of here before I get to going off on tangents. Terry, it was great having you. I'm gonna reach back out to you, and we're gonna be getting together again soon. All right.
All right. Thank you once again, everybody. Thank you for having me, Jean. I
All right.
really
Thank
appreciate you.
Hey,
And
thanks for
go get him, y'all.
all right. All right. We're gone.
I'm a go